President Trump says he will send the National Guard troops to Chicago despite pushback from local elected leaders there. Yesterday in the Oval Office, the president described the city as a hellhole and made this appeal to Illinois' governor.
If the governor of Illinois would call me up, I would love to do it. Now, we're going to do it anyway. We have the right to do it because I have an obligation to protect this country.
CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand is at the White House for more on this debate and pushback. Good morning, Natalie. How are Chicago leaders and leaders in Illinois reacting to the president's comments from yesterday? And it's Wednesday now. This could happen by the end of the week. So what happens next?
Yeah, good morning, Errol. And that's a good question because, as we heard, the president didn't say when, but did definitively say, quote, we are going in, after giving some mixed messages around this. And, you know, the White House has noted a series of dozens of shootings that occurred over Labor Day weekend in Chicago as a reason. They say that Chicago needs help. But you heard Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois. He continues to say that Illinois does not want National Guard troops deployed. But he held a news conference of his own yesterday saying that in the coming days, the state expects the situation that's playing out in Los Angeles and D.C. to happen in Chicago. And we've also heard him threaten legal action if that does end up happening. Here's more of some of his latest comments.
None of this is about fighting crime or making Chicago safer. None of it. For Trump, it's about testing his power and producing a political drama to cover up for his corruption.
Now, there's also the immigration-related enforcement operation that the state is expecting, and Pritzker, speaking to local reporters, said that his office has finally gotten word from ICE leaders that the agency would step up those operations in the state, in the city of Chicago. Unclear if an anti-crime operation is going to be on top of that. But basically, the message from Pritzker to the public is keep the peace. If you're going to protest, protest peacefully. And also, local leaders there urging the public to record any ICE-related operations that they see in their neighborhoods. Errol.
Interesting. President Trump says the U.S. military struck a drug smuggling vessel from Venezuela. What do we know about that?
Yeah, and the administration had kind of signaled that it could do this type of thing, but our Pentagon team really calling this a first-of-its-kind type of strike. The president announcing it yesterday afternoon and then posting a video on social media that you see there saying that on his orders, U.S. military forces targeted Tren de Aragua narco-terrorists who the administration says was transporting narcotics in a boat that had left Venezuela. The president saying that 11 people, he says terrorists, were killed in that operation. No U.S. forces harmed. Secretary of State Marco Rubio also posting about this strike. And Errol, what's important to keep in mind is this comes after the U.S. Confirmed earlier this month, late last month, that the Navy would boost its presence in a significant way near the coast of Venezuela, deploying 3 warships as part of an anti-drug cartel mission. Well, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, who this administration has called illegitimate, says that he sees that as a threat, has deployed security forces of his own along the coastline. So this is certainly a ratcheting up of tensions between the countries.
We'll keep watching that closely. Brand at the White House. Natalie, thanks.